and we are live. This is a UFC 200 prediction video. This is Ricky.
What's up, dudes? It's Justin. We got such a banging card on UFC 200. I'm super stoked. So before we break down the card, I'll do the first fight. Just want to give a shout out to Paige Escobar. I love you, and I'm sorry that I messed up. I'm sorry that I lied, and I have learned from my mistakes, and I hope you take me back. So now we'll start with the first fight. Why are you laughing? Okay, now we'll get down to our UFC fights. So we got Jim Miller versus Takanori Gomi in the lightweight division. Jim Miller's 25-8, and we got Gomi who's 35-11. This fight's kind of different. This is kind of a fight out of left field in my opinion because both these guys are on the decline, and I think Miller has faded less in my opinion. I think Gomi's faded a little more. I think Miller's fought better dudes. I can see how Gomi could get like an upset in this fight, but I'm not going to bet on this fight. I just think Miller's better all around, and I think Miller has more heart. I mean, Gomi's fight against Lauzon, he just gave up in there, and Lauzon knocked him out pretty early. So I'm going to go with Jim Miller by decision or a late sub, but I'm not going to be betting on this fight at all.
I know it's kind of hard to pick who's gonna win, looking at these guys' track record, seeing as they've both been beaten by like mid-tiered guys. Jim Miller at least went to a decision recently with Diego Sanchez. Takanori Gomi's getting knocked out in the first round. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So I'm definitely not going to pick either of these guys on my DraftKings. I'm not going to bet on them. They're going to be fighting at the lightweight division, but I think I'm going to go with Jim Miller to get the decision. All right?
Yeah, let's do this. We both got Miller.
We both got Miller. You got the decision?
I got a decision or maybe like a sub.
Yeah, he's got good grappling for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Next fight, we got the fight at 180. We're going to be having Thiago Santos, who's ranked 15, versus Gerard Mousasi, who's ranked 8. This is to be honest, I think this fight's a lot closer than people think.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best fight of the early prelims for sure. They should be. I think more interested in this fight than the Sanchez versus Lauzon for sure. I think it's like for some reason, I really like Gerard Mousasi, but I think Thiago Santos is going to pull off the upset. He's been looking real impressive recently in the UFC. He's a huge win streak. As opposed to Gerard Mousasi just lost to Uriah Hall. He got knocked out in the second round. And I see that Santos might be able to do the same. He's very strong, he's very quick, he's very athletic, and I think Santos is going to pull the upset. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, dude. I'm going with the dog in this matchup. I think Mousasi might be better everywhere in this fight, but I think Santos has more power, and I think that's going to hurt Mousasi. Mousasi's a super cocky fighter. He's already talking crap, saying that he's better than him everywhere. He shouldn't be in the octagon with Santos. And he's a very smart fighter, but I just feel like the short notice fight helps out Santos because Mousasi's been training for Brunson. And Derek Brunson's a totally different fighter than Thiago Santos. So Santos has been good lately, man. He's a knockout artist, and I just see him being a little too much for, Mousasi. I could see maybe a close first round, Mousasi maybe getting the edge, kind of like a feeling out process for Santos, but I think Santos is going to come out there in the second round and knock him out. So this is definitely a good fight for a dog. I'm definitely going to be betting on Thiago Santos, and I see the upset. So I agree. It's going to be a good fight. All right, so the last fight in the Fight Pass prelims, we got Diego Sanchez, 28-8, versus Joe Lauzon, 24-12. This is a pretty close fight, to be honest. It's a good fight, though, too. I mean, this could be fight of the night right here. I just think Lauzon has the edge, in my opinion. I just think he has more heart, and this is kind of like the first fight. Both these guys are on the decline. Lauzon looks so bad against Evan Dunham, but Sanchez he looked bad against Lamas too. And I mean, Sanchez beat Jim Miller, but that fight was terrible in my opinion. I just think
Yeah,
Lauzon's
Jim
more.
Miller.
That fight was terrible. I just think Lauzon could get the upset in this fight and get a sub. To be honest, I know Sanchez has never been sub before, but I just see Lauzon being too much. I'm not sure if I'll be betting on this fight. Maybe for DraftKings because the price is not too shabby. But I'm just not impressed with Sanchez. I feel like he should just hang his gloves up. And I can see the same thing about Lauzon, but I just think Lauzon is slightly better. So I'm going to go with Lauzon by a close decision or possibly a sub.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'm gonna pick Joe Lauzon too for this one. They're gonna be fighting in the 155 division. They're both pretty old fighters. They're both veterans from Tough, so they've been in the game for a while. Pretty old school, I think they already had their run. They're on their way out. But Diego Sanchez is more like the brawler. Joe Lauzon, he's way more technical. He's got way more submissions up his sleeve. And like you said, I just like the way he fights better. Diego Sanchez's fighting style is good for the fans, but it's not good for you in the long term, or for the win for winning. He doesn't really like to block that much. He uses his face as a punching bag. I've said it many times before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Joe Lauzon is just going to be too technical for him. He's gonna pick him apart, and if he doesn't get the decision, he's going to get either a TKO. Probably not going to get a TKO because you can't finish Diego Sanchez. But I do see a submission coming though. So yeah, I'm going to go Joe Lauzon. He's just too technical for Sanchez. So
yeah, we just don't know what Lauzon we're going to get because I mean when he fought Chiesa a couple years ago, he knocked him out, with the doctor stoppage, I think late in the first round, maybe second round. If that Lauzon shows up in this fight, he's going to be way too much for Diego. So either way, I got Lauzon.
Yeah, just Lauzon is just a smarter fighter.
Mm-hmm. All right, dude. Call the next fight.
Let's move on to the next fight. So we got another fight at the 155 division. We're going to have Sage Super Sage versus Enrique Wasabi Marin. It's a pretty interesting fight to me. We got Sage. He's coming off that loss. He's got huge hype going after him, and now he's fighting this guy named Enrique Marin. It's I think Is he coming from Tough? He lost from Tough.
Is that he's from Tough. He's from Tough.
So, my opinion, it looks like they're trying to give Sage Northcutt like someone just
sacrificial lamb.
Like a sacrifice, just so get a finish and get that hype back up. To me, I still think Sage has some huge holes in his game, but I think he's going to be able to beat this guy Enrique for sure. I don't see, like I said, I just think it's a sacrificial lamb, and I'm going to go with Sage Northcutt with the finish. What about you?
Yeah, I see a highlight reel knockout for Sage Northcutt. I don't think Enrique Marin, whatever his last name is, whatever that scrub's last name is, he has terrible he has terrible stand-up offense. Like, he just keeps his hands down, and that's not going to work with a dude like Northcutt. That dude has really good stand-up. I feel like he's going to get a first-round finish, make a statement. I don't think Sage is going to be a contender anytime soon, but I see a lot of, promise in the kid, so I'm going with Northcutt. Just like I already mentioned, it's like they're giving him a sacrificial lamb to get back, in the win column. But I'm not impressed with Marin at all. I think he's a scrub. All right, so the next fight, we got TJ, Snake in the Grass, Dillashaw versus Rafael Assuncao. We got Dillashaw's 12-3 and Assuncao who's 23-4. I will say this, I'm not the biggest Dillashaw fan because I'm a big alpha male guy, but I will be picking him in the matchup. They fought a couple years ago, and I feel like Dillashaw got robbed. I watched that fight the other day, and Assuncao won, but I think Dillashaw won that fight, and a lot of people could agree with me. I just feel like Dillashaw's going to be too much for this dude. I mean, Assuncao hasn't even fought in 2 years, and the long layout's going to hurt him. Dillashaw wants his belt back. His stand-up is so good with Dwayne Bang. he's going to be too fast for Assuncao too. Santos kind of, you know, short and stocky, but I just feel like Dillashaw is going to be too much. He's going to pick him apart. And I see a good fight, but I see maybe a 30-27 decision for Snake in the Grass. What about
Yeah,
you?
I'm pretty much gonna agree with you 100%. You know, Rafael Assuncao is someone you definitely can never count out, but that long layoff is just not comfortable for me. It's just especially after TJ Dillashaw is coming off that controversial loss with with Cruz. I'm sure we went to decision. You know, he wanted that rematch very bad. He didn't get the rematch. You know, I'm sure he wants a rematch again now still. So I think he's going to go out there and try to prove a point for sure. If he doesn't get I don't think he's going to get a finish because Rafael is a really tough guy, you know. But I definitely do see a decision coming for him, pretty dominant as well. So I see it going 3 rounds. TJ's probably going to be too quick for him. He's going to probably outstrike him, mix it up, just do like what he did to Hendon Browne. A little bit of Dominic's game, you know, kind of similar if you kind of pay attention to it. But he definitely has a lot more power to his punch. So I think he's going to get a decision, probably keep it standing if he can, and use his wrestling to keep it standing as well. I definitely see him outstriking Rafael. So I'm going to go with the decision too. You ready for the next one, bro? Yeah, it's going to be a good one, man.
All right, call the next one.
All right, we got the next one fighting at the welterweight. We got Johnny Big Rig Hendricks, who's ranked at number 6. He's fighting Kevin Gastelum, who's ranked number 12. Gastelum's going to be the huge dog in this fight. It's going to be a good fight. I think it's pretty hard to call because they're both really good grapplers. I'd have to say the grappling advantage might go to Kelvin, but Johnny Hendricks, he's got some big power in his hands, but he's just coming off of a pretty bad knockout to Stephen Wonderboy in the first round, which was pretty bad. Happened not too long ago in February, so hopefully his chin's healed up by now. But you still got to question his chin after getting knocked out like that. And Kevin Gastelum, he's coming off of a loss to Neil Magny. It was fight of the night, you know. And if you can go 5 rounds with Neil Magny, you got some endurance. So I think he's getting better on his cardio. He beat Nate Marround. So you know, I think I'm gonna go with the dog on this one. Johnny Hendricks, to me, I think he's not really that impressive. He was pretty impressive against GSP. Ever since that fight, he's been kind of on the downward slope. And I don't see him coming back up anytime soon, especially after that brutal knockout. So I think Kevin Gastelum's going to out-grapple him. He might even knock him out. Who knows? Because that chin is questionable. What do you think? I'm going with Kevin for the win.
Yeah, we haven't disagreed yet. I'm definitely going to be going with Calvin in this fight. I feel like I think he has more like heart, to be honest. Like I'm not a fan of Hendricks after that last performance, and I feel like Gastelum looked good in the last 2 rounds against Magny, and I feel like this fight could come down to cardio. I mean, I don't know. Like, does Hendricks have really good cardio? I mean, he has decent cardio, but I just think that loss took a lot to him. He's talking about retirement, and I feel like Gastelum's a good dog. Gastelum's a good fighter. He only has 1 loss against Tyron Woodley, and that was a terrible fight. So I'm definitely going to be going with Gastelum. I can see a knockout too. So I can see maybe a second round knockout. I just think Hendricks' chin is done. So I'll be betting on this fight. I got Gastelum. All right, so the last fight of the prelims, we got Kat Zingano versus Juliana Pena. We got Kat, who's 9-1. We got Pena, who's 8-2. Pena is a super fast starter, and I feel like that's going to go for her in a big advantage in this fight. And I'm going with the dog in this fight again. Kat Zingano has a very long layoff. She cut like 40 pounds. It's on her Instagram leading up to this fight. And I'm not going to pick anyone, to be honest, that did that stuff. And she's on a long layoff. She is a very slow starter too, and I'm telling you right now, Pena goes right out of the gate looking for that knockout. So I think this could be a good fight for a girl fight, to be honest, and I can see a finish. So I'm going with Pena by a first round finish. I just think she's too much for her. She's younger. She trains with Tate. I know that Kat beat Tate in the third round, but that Misha learned a lot from that fight. So I just think Kat's on the downhill, and I really see Pena, striving for that belt. She looks so good on Tough. She has some good performances in the UFC. Beat Jessica I, and I just see Pena being too much for her. And that fast starter is going to really be the advantage in this fight, like I just mentioned. So I got Pena.
Oh man, this is gonna be a hard. I think this is one of the harder ones to call towards this fight because these two girls are pretty tough fighters. Like Kat Zingano's only loss was to Ronda Rousey, which is kind of like pretty impressive. You know what I mean? So not that many. So and then but Juliana Pena's looking pretty good too. So she's 8-2, but I just haven't seen who's coming off the Juliana Pena just last fought in October. They're both coming, so Cantagano's layoff isn't that bad. I think I might have to disagree with you on this one. I think Cantagano's going to take this one.
All right. It's a girl fight, I'm not a big fan of girl fights because a lot of them are boring.
I want to agree with you just to agree with you, but I don't know. I just feel like Cantagano has a better resume. And
yeah, it's a safe pick. All right, go ahead.
All right, we got the next heavyweight fight. We got Cain Velasquez versus Travis Hapa Browne. Cain Velasquez is around 240. Travis Browne is around 255. They're big guys. Cain Velasquez, he's just coming off a loss with Verdum for the championship fight. And if you guys know a little bit of history about Cain Velasquez, is that he gets injured a lot. So he hasn't fought that many times. And Travis Browne, he's been dating Ronda Rousey, so he doesn't fight that often either. He's coming off a pretty nice, impressive third round KO against Matt Mitrione, but before that he got knocked out in the first round against Andrei Arlovsky. So I don't know. This is going to be an interesting. I'm kind of interested to see which Cain Velasquez shows up. Haven't seen Cain fought. Cain fought against Verdum. He was looking pretty good in the first two rounds, and he always has looked good previously in the championship fights, because he's just a beast. But we haven't seen him fight. It's been 2015, and then he took a 2-year layoff. So it's kind of hard to put any money on him recently, and it's kind of hard to put any money on either of these fighters. I'm probably not going to bet on him. But if I have to pick a fighter to win, I'm probably going to pick Cain Velasquez. He's just too aggressive. His wrestling's too much, and his striking is better than Travis Browne's. I think it is. So I'm going to go with Cain to get the win. What do you think?
Yeah, this is my least confident pick in the entire card, to be honest. I'm not betting on this fight at all. There's so many negatives about both dudes, but I think I'm going to go with the dog in this fight. I just feel like Cain is kind of done, in my opinion. Long layoff. He lost his belt. And I know Browne doesn't have the best training camp, and he trains with Edmund, and that hasn't shown to be good, to be honest. Look at Ronda Rousey. But I can just see, I'm telling you right now, I was talking to my buddy the other day, I can see a knockout like with the elbows, just like how he did against Josh Barnett. Someone else did it too, I forget. But something against the cage, Cain going for a takedown, those elbows connecting against that skull. I don't know. I see something like that. I'm not going to be betting on it, but I just see something like that. So Browne definitely has a better stand-up in this fight too. So I'll be going with Browne. All right. So we got, this is a banging fight right here. Jose Aldo, 25-2, a.k.a. McGregor's bitch, against Frankie Edgar, who's 19-4-1, my bad. All right. This is a very close fight. I'm telling you right now, I'm super pumped for this one. We got, I think Aldo's a dog. I wish Edgar was a dog, but I'm going with Edgar, dude. I just feel like Edgar has more momentum. Aldo's, ever since that loss against McGregor, like, what Aldo are we going to get, you know? I know he won the first fight. I know it was close, and he looked good in that fight, but I just see Edgar being too much, and I feel like Edgar's going to knock this fool out. It could go maybe like to the 4th or 5th round, but I just think Edgar is better everywhere, in my opinion. And I just think he has more momentum, like you just said. So I got Edgar. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you as well. Something about Edgar, I feel like he just keeps getting better and better and better. And I can't say the same about Aldo. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of been looking a little worse since the steroid ban, and so have a lot of the Brazilians, if I have to say that. But that's anyway. Frankie Edgar's looked impressive, and I just see a deja vu of from when Conor McGregor fought Chad Mendes. Frankie Edgar is just following in his footsteps to get that title shot, and I think Frankie Edgar wants that title shot because he knows he can beat Conor McGregor. And to be honest, I think he is the one in the featherweight division that could beat Conor McGregor. He's like Chad Mendes with better boxing, better striking, more technical, better jiu. Chad Mendes is like a stronger Frankie Edgar with less technique. And I think that technique is huge in the featherweight division. So I think I'm going to go with, and like I think he's not as he's more motivated on McGregor than he is on fighting Frankie Edgar. So I think his head is more not really, his head is not really in the fight as much as Frankie. I think Frankie is just more motivated and he just wants that title shot. So and he's not looking past Aldo. He's ready to go step at a time. So I'm gonna go with Frankie Edgar, and I think he's gonna get the finish. So
Yep. All day.
Yeah, a lot of people think I look like him. So how can I not?
You do, dude.
How can I not look like him, bro? All right. So the next fight, we got a chick fight. We got a championship chick fight, and they're gonna be fighting in the bantamweight division. It's gonna be Miesha Tate versus Amanda Nunes. And I think this fight's going to be pretty fun to watch. These girls like to bang, and they're both finishers. Amanda Nunes is a beast. Miesha Tate is coming off of that impressive finish against Holly Holm. She pulled out the fifth round submission to choke her out and got performance of the night. And Amanda Nunes is coming off a decision win. And she also submitted Sarah McMahon in the first round. She's a finisher, but the thing that worries me about Amanda Nunes is that she gasses out in the later rounds. So, and like about Miesha Tate, it's really, really hard to finish her unless you're Ronda Rousey. And at very first, I thought Amanda Nunes was gonna get a finish, but after doing some research and some studying and thinking, I think what's going to happen more likely is that Miesha Tate is just going to grind it out towards the later rounds. She's going to use her endurance. She's going to use her cardio, wait for Amanda Nunes to gas out as she does in later rounds. And Miesha Tate is just going to pull off that finish how she usually does. She's a dog and she likes to play dirty, so she likes to wait to the end, and she knows how to pull the finish off, and I like that about her. So I'm probably going to go with her for a late finish in the championship rounds. What about you?
Yeah, this is a short breakdown on my part. I got Tate in this fight. Nunes Trade's a top team. She's a fast starter, but I just see Tate, being more well-rounded. She's fought way better competition. She's a champ. And I see a finish for Tate maybe in like the 3rd or 4th round. Tate's been there before. She's had the championship fights. Nunes has never been in a 5-round fight. Tate just has too much cardio, and she's just going to smother her, get probably a submission. So I got Miesha Tate. All right, so the co-main event, we got Brock Lesnar, 5-3, against Mark the Super Samoan Hunt, who's 12-10. Yeah, this is one of the easiest fights to predict, in my opinion, on this card. I got Mark Hunt all day. Where's Brock Lesnar at? Like, is he training? Like, he wasn't even that good in the UFC when he had his run, Mark Hunt hits probably the hardest in the division besides Derek Lewis, in my opinion. And Lesnar's going to go for a takedown and just get, he's going to get KO'd, the sweep. going to be in a stretcher probably, and I got Mark Hunt. Hunt's a beast. He looks lean now. I feel like he get a title shot pretty soon, so I'm going with Hunt. I just don't see where Lesnar has an advantage in this fight besides taking him to the ground. But I just don't think he's going to get there. So I can see something similar to the Frank Mir fight where he tried to go for a takedown and Hunt knocked him out on a walk-off. That's what Hunt's known for, a walk-off KO, and that's what he's going to do in this fight. What about you?
Yeah, man, you pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. You know I love Hunt, especially the way he strikes. He's notorious for the walk-off KOs. He hits grapplers right in the face, and they forget to grapple all of a sudden. In order for Brock to get the takedown, he's going to have to go on the inside. And if he goes on the inside, I think he's going to get hit, man. I just don't see him avoid. I don't see Hunt not hitting him. So I see Brock being scared. I mean, his last fight was in 2011, bro. That was 5 years ago. So I don't know why so many people are so confident in him. Like, Hunt has been knocking people out brutally recently, and he's been knocking people out that don't get knocked out. So like, he's been making statements. I think he's gonna make one final statement, and they got to give him that title shot, because he's just gonna knock out Brock Lesnar, and it's gonna be finish of the night for sure. Like, he's gonna get KO'd stiff, and I'm gonna go with Mark Hunt with the KO. Now, are you ready for the next fight?
Yeah, is it my turn to call it?
I think it's my turn. I think you just called the last one, right?
It's your turn. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, this is one of the most anticipated fights ever. This is John Bones Jones versus Daniel Cormier for the championship fight at the light heavyweight division. And I'm so stoked for this fight. I just love the tension that these guys have. I love the drama. It's so much fun to watch. The first fight was fun to watch. The second fight is fun to watch. Are You There, Pussy is one of the most funny. So like, I'm just very excited for this fight. You know, they're both coming off of wins. Daniel Cormier I think he just beat Gustafsson in a war, in a 5-round war, which was a great fight. He beat Anthony Johnson in the 3rd round, choked him out. So I think Daniel Cormier has deserved the championship title. But one awesome thing is that John Jones has never lost his titles in the octagon. So I mean, it's a very, very, very cool story to watch. John Jones, though, he just fought OSP, for the interim fight, for the interim championship fight, and it went to decision. In my opinion, I think Jones could have done better. I was not that impressed with his performance, but you just can't beat Jones. And Daniel Cormier is great, and he's a great grappler. He's very strong. He's very powerful. But I think that John Jones is his kryptonite. For some reason, Jones just has a way of getting in his head, and DC just can't come up to the pressure. But Jones, he's not really much of a finisher, so I think I'm gonna. I think he's not much of a finisher, but he definitely doesn't lose. He always comes to rises and gets the win, So I think I'm gonna go with Jones for the 5th round decision victory for the championship. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not a big DC fan, man. He's a dick. And I know Jones has gotten in a lot of trouble and all this stuff, but that's just Jones. I think he's learned from his mistakes. Hopefully he's not going to do that shit again, but I just see Jones being so much better than this dude everywhere. I know the first fight was close, but Jones didn't even train for Gus, and he went out there and put on a really good fight, and he hasn't weightlifted for this fight at all. And I can really see a finish. I just feel like DC is Jones' bitch, and I really see Jones taking it to him. How can you pick against a guy that's pound for pound the best fighter of all time? Like, I'm never going to do it. I don't care if he goes to heavyweight. John Jones is the man, the best fighter in the UFC of all time. He hasn't been a finisher as of late, but he's going to come out there and put on a performance and make a statement You get that first round KO. I'm calling it right now. He's going to do it. I'm going to be betting on this. John Jones is the real deal. DC is a good fighter that's never going to have Jones' number. So I'm going with Jones.
All right.
All right, we're done. We'll be back in a week against Michael Mayday McDonald versus John Winokur. I'm going with McDonald. We'll talk about that in a week.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good night.
Later, guys.